Alright. Set 9, we in here. What's happening? How you feeling? It's the boy Austin champ. Cuddle Puddle Rupture. Cuddle Puddle for me. I gotta switch up this little legend. Going to the Rupture. Big random. Gonna be Yumi Zoom Zone. Quick OTs. I like that. Might be a challenger game. Might be something like a. Find out. We'll catch the vibe. Challengers, and I get the Kalista early. Another challenger. I'm gonna keep this void on deck though. Got double void and the couple friends. Got Demacia, some Piltover. Digging these items already. Feeling the Shadow Owl's Kalista right now. I'm seeing the line. We get offered on this first augment. Of course, it's gonna be Pandora's items. Double trouble. Frequent flyer. This isn't bad. This is not a bad pick. I don't love it. I'm just gonna go with the Pandora's items. It's just too consistent. Too consistent for me to pass up on. I guess I might as well just throw this right there. I think that's the vibe. You will be looking like this might be a L. Depends on how fast we take this out. Oof. Yeah, might be a minute. We holding our own though. Doing a good job. It's just too much damage. It's 5 much damage. It's 10 much damage. Okay. But we like that. And then there's more challengers here for us too. We have 4 challenger. Got the Shadow Owls, we got the challengers. It's a big dub. Got some Shadow Isles rocking here too. The first 2. They don't got the challenger side, don't got the Kalista. Gotta keep an eye out on your mom's house though, in case they start picking up a lot of those units. shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's gonna hurt though. It's just a 1 star. We should be fine. Yeah, we're good. All right, what we looking at? Ooh, like this. I could definitely use that. I could use this. I'm the 4th pick, so it's gonna be no Kalista for me. Misplay J. Actually gonna go with that. Perfect. Oh, I can get Kalista. That's free. Free Kalista too, essentially. Big money. Getting gifted all my units. I'm actually gonna drop this challenger vibe. Something like this. I feel like I still need this. Maybe not this moment. Here. Let's do this. And then worst case we'll sell this, but I think we should win. Nobody's really that much strong, like gonna be that much stronger than us right now. We're really, really strong. Huh. Only me and Squire Timo on TF, that's crazy. A sword there. Kinda unlucky. I don't want to do anything with my gold here. Yeah, like this just in case anybody scouts, and I'm thinking of putting this Kalista right kind of back here again. Everybody's positioning pretty standard. Wish I could have got this here, but it's all good. I think you can still, yeah. Surprised this guy got such a long lead with these units. Unless he sold something, there's really nothing too strong on his board right here. All right. We in there. Dang, that's kind of crazy. Still get no bows. Need 2 bows. Might get lucky here. Best part about this Pandora's items is you literally get every item you want. Really don't gotta worry about much on that side. Gonna come. Definitely be a bow here. 4 pools. No bow. That's crazy. Okay. I'm scared to lose this fight. I really want to keep this streak. This is gonna be strong. This should be a good jump back though. 4 squares back. And we'll be able to chunk this man out as well with the spears. Yeah, we should be good, honestly. Yeah, that's a good jump. Zed's about to kill. Yeah, we're in there. Are we streaking? Healing orb's not bad. You can always move freely on carousel rounds. What? Like I can just get what I want? Okay. If they mean it. All right. I think we're chilling right now. I just need to get a little bit more like tempo on this lobby, and I'll be feeling a bit more comfortable. Right now I feel like just ahead of the curve, which not bad, but I want this first. I need these first, these late night firsts, easy climbs. It's looking to be that way right now. We got ourselves substantial lead. Misplayed Jay with the Bruiser Challenger. Also got that Kalista. Need an echo. Any echoes in the chat? And for a strong echo? Any echoes in the chat? Alright, this should be a strong fight too. We couldn't do fine though. I wish I would have more rogues ready to jump towards this back line and put pressure, but should be chilling. Got all the wounds across the front line. Viego jumps back. Nasus should fall soon. Oh, this is gonna be, nah, I think it's an L. It's looking like an L. Oh, that's a big shield to come out from the Aurelia. I ain't mad at it. I earned that. Alright, where am I going? Let me get this Kalista. I'll just kill whatever I want. Young and Wild and Free is crazy. What? What's it called? Wild and Free? Young and Wild and Free. I love that. Get whatever I want from the later carousel too. It's gonna be clutch. Got 3 free Kalistas. Y'all got any of them 1 cost? Alkais? I'm fiending. Alright, we got the full items, the 2-star. Hopefully this is gonna be some substantial pressure. Yasuo, you out of here. Later, Warwick. Oh, he stunned me good. That's so sad. That stun was so solid. I was trying to get through at least to this Merc Wolves, but it's all good. Getting some more tank line in the front. That's what we've been severely lacking. Still need to get Echo, but that's what I'll drop in at 7. I'll put in, drop my Aurelia and put in all my rogues. Should have moved over Aurelia 1 spot. It's all good, pull him over. Cool. This poor cat gonna be seeing the gray screen pretty soon. There's not a lot brewing back here. A lot of gold though, so maybe something could happen. Just you need a quick hand for that, and it's late. It's late to have a quick hand. I definitely want to be playing easy stuff. Try to climb at night. Could get 3 Viegos. I'm not trying to, but wouldn't be mad if they popped up naturally. Still looking for Echo. Guess we kind of like roll at 7. Because our board's pretty complete at 7. It's not like we're trying to get a whole bunch more. Like, I need to get 8 so I can drop in this GWEN. Besides that, ooh, there's Echo and a friend. Let's actually just level here so that we are 7. Throw in this Echo, drop the Aurelia, put in the Zed, and then we'll figure out positioning for this that should work. I don't know. Maybe this right now? Something. Yeah, this way Katarina gets some access to this back line. If not, this is gonna be tough. That is a strong Lux. We are not too tanky still. We got the damage, but the tank stats definitely to be desired. Oh my gosh. And no, we moved over to the unlucky champ. It happens. I think get some more tank on this front line. Tier 3. Tier 3. Tier 3. That's 1, 2, 3. Won't be anybody else though. Will we get 300 health? I'm not dying for that. Okay. Okay. Huh. Actually though,
well, have fun.
Thank you.
Work hard. I want you to work
Always do.
hard.
Thank you.
No having fun. Work.
That's all I do, brother. I'm sorry. I don't have any hard jobs. Only easy jobs for the champ. Alright. We could go 6 here, huh? 6. Had to ding 9. Doable. Is it worth? Yeah. It is worth it. Especially because I didn't get a 3-star Maokai. Cat got strong out of nowhere. Yo, that augment is my favorite. I'm definitely trying to ding now. What? Itemize this Senna smooth too. What would be the best stuff for the Senna? Okay. All right. Alright, interesting this man didn't jump anywhere. It'd still be in a pretty good spot with this fight. I'll take these minimum damage losses to go into 5, especially if I'm trying to get to 9. If I can get all these Shadow Isles in. And there's the Gwen. I might drop the Rogue for the... Yeah, I'm gonna drop the Rogue for this. It's gonna be way more worth it. Probably could do good with the Titans as well, yeah. Looking at that, like, pretty good item. Oh yeah, this team's online. 6 Shadow Isles, yucky. Stain is dirty. Gwen popping off all over the front and the back line. And now I don't even really have to care about the fast 8 or fast 9 too much. I have the 6 Shadow Isles gonna carry me pretty tough. I can just afford to let that keep doing its thing for me. Drop this for a Cassante at some point. The better Bastion for sure. It's a fast shield. Wow. Wow. That's a really big pickup. Got the Gwen 2. We're gonna be online. I can just swap these back and forth as well. Put this shield on the Maokai now. Oh my god. Gwen. Sitting way too topped off for anybody to deal with. And I have the Kalistas. The Kalista would be great against me, but I got the Kalistas, so I think I might just be sliding into Faust. Quick Faust. Big firsts. Alright, there's that. We need 2 more Kalistas. Another Senna. And we're Seta. This is a threat. Hope y'all ready to tank. Tank. The fact that Katarina lived that long. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Gwen. Putting in the deeps. Got the 40 gold still racking too. This is great position. So many Gwinsus in this meta. Oh my gosh. Every team has a Gwinsu. I think somebody said it best in the fact that really going to be a Zephyr meta at the top. Zephyr and those Gwinsu carries is going to be so important. I think we're chilling. This is like pretty autopilot. Oh, never mind. The Azir. Ascending all over my face. I'm gonna grab this. Feels bad. It feels bad. They're gonna have to nerf this from being what do you even call these augments? Silver gold prismatic? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we out here. This is full force. Man, I wish I could transfer this to the homie, but I think this is a better layout. Something like this, honestly. Yeah, let's do this. We get Zephyr'd? No, but this is an annoying comp to go against. What a big chunk from the Senna so early. Trojan's paying off. Oh, but we still gonna lose this fight. Looked like we were coasting, but yeah, we're gonna need a couple more things before we're really set in stone. No matter what, we're top 4, so yeah. Trying to find this Kalista 3, so thirsty for it. Unlucky champ. I've been lucky all game, so if that's the first L I take, I'll take it. We'll cruise through this fight, ruin my econ a little bit. Probably could have saved that goal, but 9 is on the horizon. That's when we'll get that bleed to activate. Top 3 at least. Squire Timo got the win. Oh, that's so huge. Kalista 3? Shadow Isle 6? I'm about to get Senna 2? And my 4 rogue on the board as well when I think level 9. We loving all of it. We loving it. We living it. I low-key want to get the punching glove, my sparring glove, so I can get a JG. We'll see if it happens though. Alright, I think we just chill until we can level. Keep it chill, 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 chill. Item remover this to there would be crazy. I'm choosing this because I've seen how big that shield was. The shield is actually broken. The Shadow Isle shield when it's Shadow 6, so no need to put that anywhere besides this Maokai. Is this? I don't even think shield activates there though. Which is kind of crazy. These spears are no joke now. 128 true damage if removed. All right, let's level. Let's level. Drop it here, and that's a team. Like that. Depends. Who we fighting? Okay, we're gonna switch it up. Should be better. Let's see how this looks. They're like not going where they need to go. They're just staying still. Kind of interesting. Oh, my misplayed J, please. Please, brother. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mercy. Mercy. Jeez. That wasn't even close. Oh, we do get this at least. Guess we just gotta throw that on it. Did I switch those in time? I had to have. Unlucky champ. I think it's still fine. 3 Zephyrs? Whoa. I just got zeffed. Feel strong. Nice. I think that should take out Squire Timo. Nice. At least top 2. Now we just gotta try to misplay J. I don't think there's anything misplayed right here. This man looking strong. All right, it should be our best attempt right here. We take the 2. We'll take the 2. Are we placing bronze 1? Aight. Easy climb. Diamond tonight before the flight. Diamond tonight before the flight, y'all. Believe chat? Do you believe? Oh, I forgot to change my little buddy. Forgot to change the little homie. All right. Back into the mix. the Glass Industries. Everybody seems to want to go Hearthhome. I'll be a team player. I'll play for the team. Let's get into it. Yeah. Imagine scouting on a carousel you don't even choose. Talking me. I'm an old man. Let's see a tag, old man Aussie. The old man. Leave this old man alone. Got the Demacia vibes starting out. I've been sleeping on Demacia this past few days. It's such a solid comp. You get a lot of threats, a lot of free Radiant items. We're gonna get a Radiant item as well. Upgrade one equipped item into its Radiant version. I also wish I could play Piltover. I have not gotten a good Piltover start. Ever. So, that'd be pretty cool. Piltover, I feel like, is so strong right now. It doesn't play itself, but once you get it, once you get the T-Hex and you can start getting some lost streaks, selling that out, it's really something that's worth the payout nowadays. I feel like Underground was always hit or miss, and before that, I forget what the more gambling mechanic kind of was, but there was something before Underground. Unstable Yordle delivery. Say less. I don't think anybody's going Yordles. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Yup, we out here. That's me. So we're gonna reroll. Wow. But we're gonna be losing. Hopefully we don't lose the whole game, but we're definitely gonna start with some big damage here in stage 2. I'm going Yordle, hard tech. Gonna get so close to clearing this Poppy. Oh, it's okay. 8 damage. I'll take it. We'll get priority on carousels. We're gonna be getting the Yordles for sure. Alright. And then next I'll throw in this KO just to get a bit more damage out there. Save the Teemos till they get something on them. I'm not gonna just throw raw Teemo out there. Might go Strategist though. Strategist, Yordle seems like work the best for me. I'm not gonna clear anything this round either, but that's the power of Pine Saw if you really think about it. Got given this Teemo too, but I'm still gonna just sit in the pocket. I like to grab these extra units essentially if I'm not gonna make econ. I'm not gonna make one of those 10 gold breakpoints just because it takes them out of the pool for when I roll next time. In my head, it just helps that little bit much more. Like now I won't get this offered to me, this offered to me, this. These will be out in the pool to get next round. So hopefully I get offered some more Yordles. I'd love to be sitting in a good place by 2-6. If not, I might just honestly abandon this and go for some Slayer or something. I have the Kleds. Got the Kales. Cleared one unit there. We're still taking fat L's. I'm okay to lose to this stage though. Definitely is nice for us. Do I take the free Kled or do I grab the item I need? I feel like I grab the item I need. The Kled's gonna come. Yeah, and it would have been a Kled too for sure, so just more worth to get this on top of it. I think that's what I'll probably throw. Yeah, I'll throw the Gwinzu on this Tristana. Got another Teemo for Freemo. Nothing offered to us in the shop. Not gonna roll so I can have some econ. I'm gonna want to roll at the end of this without going too far under 30. Just scroll down to 30. Sometimes I'll roll too far. Not worth it. I'm gonna be getting so much from this every round. More worth to just let it come naturally. Nobody's going Yordles in the entire lobby. So we're gonna hit. Just about having gold to actually be able to level and get the other strategists and other utility around my carries. Okay, now we're actually starting to clear some units too, so that's very good. We took 2 off the board, but we're less in last place than we were. All right. No Yordle for free. Some gold. We'll take. We'll no doubt get to clear the Krug since we have this Tristana. I'm sad that I don't have any of these units though. Like, that baby. So sweet, except for in the nighttime. I swear. Okay, let me go do that. Let me get this milk real quick. I need to roll. Okay. We're gonna do this and then we're gonna go be a dad. Believe in it. I believe in the power. Honestly, I'm not even gonna roll yet, so. time to roll, Husty. We gotta roll. Okay. We don't get anything crazy, but we do get the... Oof. Excuse me, I was running. We do grab this Teemo so much. Plenty of Teemos. Tristana 3 on the way. Not gonna pop this yet. Might honestly have to, but I think we're chilling still. Take one more L here. And then after that, we start winning. Yeah, we're enough down to like consistently get the carousel picks that we want. Teemo's here. Oh, sure. And then, wow. Oh, Void Challenger. Don't need it, but I'll take it. Let me wait till I have my strategist in. Oh wait, I kind of need to. Yeah, 'cause getting 5 strategists be insanely good. All right, lose this one, and then we on a winning spree and an international shopping spree. 44. Good place to stop. And now we only up. Okay, that was first place. Easy. Not even that strong. Got you. Okay, we got the 3-star. Popping through. Gonna level. And add in this here. A Zephyr is not bad. Wait. Strategist emblem. Got it. Alright, we win. It's gonna be hurting everybody's faces so hard with all of our raw skill and damage and talent. Boo, 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 boo. Teemo 3 on the way. Still need one more Yordle 3. If I can get a Heimerdinger on Carousel. Oh. 2 3-star Yordles. There's a Kled again. It has a blue buff. I don't hate that on my Teemo. Nothing else I really am dying for. None of the 4-cost strategists. Use Swain as well. Drop this. Boom, boom. Swain. Yeah, it's all coming together. It's all happening, y'all. Let him cook. All right. I just went over the Swain. I'm silly. Come on, Swain, come back. Ah, why'd I do that? What kind of misplays always make me upset? Like, not like tilted, but just like, that's so silly. Like, could you have done that any sillier? See how we get through these gunner comps Front line starting to get shredded pretty quick. We need to... Okay, nice response there. Yeah, we're good. Good, we're good. How's Sleepy Snooze doing? Definitely about to lose this one. Oh no, let me win this one. I didn't see that on the other side. Perfect. Because I want to keep a good carousel placement. Hopefully get the Heimerdinger next one. Oh, that Swain just never going to come back now. No, I'm going to stop rolling. Gonna stop rolling before bad things happen. I feel like I need more tankiness. Tough out here right now. I kind of ruined a lot of people's days with those gunners. They're looking for a Zeri, obviously, but they would have liked to have a stronger Tristana to have until that point transition. Yeah, we're strong. We in our bag now. Ramping up to 158 AD. All right. What do we get here? Another Teemo, and that's Teemo 3. Perfect. There he is. I was like, you gotta come back home, man. We miss you. Alright, I'll stop rolling. Build up this econ. Get some natural love. Okay. Oh, wow. And then we will get a 4-star Yordle. That's living. Demacia is sorcerer. Who's our sorcerer right now? Oh, of course. Would a sorcerer on a Teemo be worth it? Like, how much is Stork 1 really doing? Plus 25? 10% max health to another enemy? Huh. Not sure. I'll marinate on it. I get first pick, hopefully. First, third pick. Second pick probably by the time we get there, because we're starting to really put some damage into people. We're streaking. Sleepy Snooze probably gonna lose these next two while we're winning. Oh, and Hackle of the Vakik also falling low. And there's the 3. Damn. Edge of Night. BF Sword. Huh. Ooh. This could be pretty crazy. I don't know. I guess we just go with this. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either, so. It's just gonna help this Poppy pop off, you know? Poppy playtime. It's a tickle. It's hitting. Okay, I'm lying. It's doing damage. Yeah, that's us taking out first place right there too, so. Definitely enjoying this streak and liking the type of people we're taking out during it. Gonna be another Poppy. 3 more rounds to Poppy 3 and start getting those a Heimerdinger for free, which would be So supreme. I honestly am gonna put this on the Heimerdinger, throw the Heimerdinger here at the turret, and then we got the Chalice of Power on the Heimerdinger. Buffing the Teemo. Who will turn 4-star, I think. Yeah, I'm not gonna be your win, unfortunately. You're not cashing out that Piltover on me today, my friend. If they win this next fight, though, I'm not beating this guy. And we climbing. Got all the way to this 3rd pick, unfortunately, but it's all good because there's not even Heimerdinger to worry about. What could I use? It's an extra one of these. Oh, wait. Team? Huh? It's getting away with too much right there. What? Free Tactician's Crown for the boy? Oh, you gotta love it. A Masterwork upgrade. Guess what? You're on the team. And now we have Noxus. Well. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the best pickup right there. The poppies should come. I know Swain's coming as well. About time I level up, honestly. Wow. We're doing damage. Now it's to all the top contenders. We beat Sting here. We beat your shop there. Lil Uzi London. I haven't fought in a while. We'll see. A poppy? No, some gold. I ain't mad at it. I don't need to try to force anything. Like, keep it chill. Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm like, just keep it chill. I press reroll and I get blast. That's gonna be Strategist 4. I'm even gonna be able to level to 8. Possibly even 9 if the lobby goes that long, because your shop does have a lot of health. If I really focused on leveling though, I'd be good. Yeah, I can't see a situation where we don't top 3 possibly this lobby. Uncontested Yordles is just insane. Especially if you get that augment offered first. That's gonna be Poppy 3. We got all 3-star Yordles at 4-7. Great timing. Not like supersonic or anything, but definitely is like, uh-oh. This guy's about to start getting Heimerdingers. And that means 2 4-star Yordles coming through. I'd like to make this Kled a bit more threatening. What do we get? What's the play here? Go here for sure. I can't drop Gunners now, which kind of sucks, but I know I want to keep this for Dongerdinger. Guess we'll just put this onto the... Yeah, Quicksilver here with all this damage already. It's just insane. And now we'll also have no threat of Jarvans, which can be the true menace of the lobby. locking down your carries, making you feel so useless out there. Now look at this Tristana going crazy. We literally said we lose after this, or we lose up to this point, and then we good, and that's exactly what happened. We got up here. What y'all got over here, huh? Anything good? Nothing. Alright. I'll just put another Swain here, I guess. I should get a Heimerdinger next. That will really round out this composition that we have going down. Look at the quick explosion of the entire team coming out from this Tristana. Oh my lord. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. It's a first. On top of that, we do also have the Conquered bonus now for these Noxus units. Kind of getting crazy. Wish I could get a Giant's Belt, something for this. Make a Warmogs or anything, but it's all good. We're still lax mode. This is our biggest threat, honestly. Anytime you see a Void comp, you gotta be careful. Especially when it's gone as uncontested as it has here. You see the Kaisa is a threat, but not to me. Not to me. What's we looking at here? There's some Bastion. Sebastian. Oh, that would have been actually it. What am I doing here? Grab this for the Kled. I guess we didn't need this really though. Playing myself. And they really don't want to hook the boy up with a... They really don't want to hook me up with that Heimerdinger. Got your boy waiting. I'll just throw this here. I don't want to... If I do get into 4-star, I want it to be on this Teemo instead of the Kled. Like, frontline's already going to be beefy. We ended up getting this Scion out of nowhere. And now we're clearing boards faster than they even start. Got the Ari in there. Kind of placeholder for this Heimerdinger. Gonna be holding that chalice for him till he gets there. But Tsuyu, my wife, I thought we were at the bottom and we made it back to the top. No Donger to ding. Huh. I'll take this though. Once we have the Donger to ding, life's good. All right, Sting, what you got? You got for us? Get mana reaved. Reeve-tastic gameplay coming in from the kid. Reaving souls. Donna still alive for an hour. Literally just can't die. Alright, let's chill. Let's chill, let's chill. Let me make this... What's going on? Either they changed that or I did. One of the two. I guess I could honestly. How's that for a fix? I like it. I like what I see. I like it a lot. Demacia Strategist. Oh, don't mind me. There. Don't mind me. Oh, we out here. Ends up still being the Gled that gets it. I ain't mad at it. Gets a little bit of an execute, a bit more tankiness. Going to be the one that gets executed though by these gunners. All right. That's a strong gunner comp. Need the shrink mod. I like the shrink module, definitely, especially I don't have any shivs, I don't have any Last Whisper. I'm definitely trying to get on that. You see everybody getting shredded crazy from the Apex turret. That's all she wrote right there. To you holding on for a while, but unfortunately the way the tides roll, gonna have to fight me soon. They didn't give me the Heimerdinger, but I didn't need the Heimerdinger. You know what I'm saying? That would have been just extra. I'm cool off all that. If there's really nothing that I can see anybody doing, this Scion's gonna get to that back line. Delay the inevitable if you must, but end of the day, I am inevitable. I love it. Again, to fight for second. It's gonna go to Suyu. Gets the kill. We made it up from the bottom. All right. Do I have the sorcerer active? Oh no, but that Nox is. Not gonna get to see the light of day with this combo, but honestly, yeah, if I give it Jarvan 2, I'd drop the Jarvan, the Noxus for the 5 strat. Extra 200 shield. That's huge. Job's not finished. Alright. Put the first on him. Oh sweet, we getting the tracker on us now too. Promoted 2 times. Promoted 2 times. We on silver 4, headed to the straight top. Apex turret head, me to the straight drop. Hey, to the straight hot. Make you know me a champ, cause I'm too hot. Hey, and we in it real quick. And you know me, I'm about to do it. It's it. Too late, I can't wake up the kids. It's too late, I can't wake up the kids. And I gotta get on this flight soon. And I'm trying to get to work by noon. I don't know if the paycheck's coming soon, but I know that I got it for my crew. Ooh, 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 ooh. Know how we do, know how we do. Me and my crew. Jump back in. Let's switch. I keep forgetting to switch this up. I need my bunny back. I need my bunny back. Where my bunny at? There we go. Hit him with the roar. The bunny roar. Alright. Silver 3 game. We're on a hot streak. It's late in the night. We ain't never worried about that. Going to be two ranks we just passed. We flew past silver 4 straight into silver 3. So thankful for TFT and their system of recognizing, hey, this guy's smurfing. This dude is smurfing. Get him out of here. Get this guy out of here. All right. Some great silver gameplay coming at you. Get out of here. We don't need no stinking compositions. Permaban. Similar to my experience. All right. Let's get this game going, get it real nice. Get the game going, get it so right. You know me and this tonight. The Tonight Show with Mr. Austin Champ. You know me, I came to do the dance. And maybe move my hands and shake them in my hands in my pants. Yeah, I think Thresh's Sanctum. Where I'm trying to go tonight. The Summit. Ah, Fooey. Alright. See what comes up, but I'd like to do an Aphelios game. I haven't played any Aphelios. Get some Deadeye going. See what we're given though. Already given to Katarina. Noxus on the table. And a blue buff. Blue buff also good for some void. Some void multicasters. Void Kaisa carry. Void and obsolete. I like it. These items could mean nothing, or they could be everything. The lesser champion dupe. Okay, I got some rogues. I got the strong rogues too. Ooh, that's solid. That's actually super solid. If nobody's going Shurima, that's a big win. Literally nobody has Shurima units. I'll take that. Take that to the bank and cash it. Shadow Isles Crest. Yeah, I think we're chilling. We're not going to be, the most dominant force here early, but we're going to get strong. And I feel like Shurima is going to go very uncontested in this lobby from what we saw so far, so. Like, I don't really want to get all the, upgrades on this Talia, but early item still leaves this open. That static shift would be so strong onto the Azir later. I feel like it's trolling to take that item opportunity away from the Azir. Hey. Stole that one. None of these are Shurima. I could honestly econ. Oh no. We're gonna have like 1, 2. Guess I need to get Cassante at the end. That'll be the 5th, but I'll have to keep swapping those out as I get access to the higher tier options for those. Yeah, that sun disk is doing work. Actually, doing the most damage on the team. That's insane. 1, 2, 3. I'll just get this Talia, honestly. If possible. He's still up. Yeah, Shurima's it for this lobby. Especially because we're gonna get all these dupes as well, so we're just gonna be able to fake a lot of the roles. Five and 6 will get duped, okay. I want to win. I don't want to lose too much. I'd rather win through this last 2 stages than lose. Definitely won't beat the econing player. Honestly, it's Irelia though. Oof. Tough. Eating so much damage still. Still. Not anymore, but did enough. Hey, good stuff out there, Talia. Out damage the sun disc. Well, looks like we'll take the 3 loss and all good. Need a carry unit. Lacking a carry. Another Sunfire Cave Irelia to make us feel like we don't do any damage. Hey, not actually too bad. I mean, I said I wanted to win, so I guess I didn't get all of what I wanted, but be careful what you wish for. Oh my gosh, I have this flight and I have work right when I land. I'm not even tripping about that. I'm not even worried about that right now. You gotta climb TFT with y'all. Way more fun. I think this is best suited on. I mean, Swain does live a long time. Like Swain just dies. I need a shiv for that. I need bow for that. Oh yeah, that's gonna hurt. Oh snap, we win this? That's awesome. Oh, I could use this. I'll just grab this then. Pop it. Shurima. Shurima. Now and forever. I just need 2 bows. Where can I get 2 more? 2 bows. Trying to get like 2 bows. Last night I was at 2. Counting more than 2 hoes. And you know that. And you know they told. And you know and young it knows. Alright, we strong. I'm digging it. Beat him up. Nice. Sun disc hitting for 1400. 1400. 14. Very close. Ooh, I'm feeling very close, feeling like the host with the most. I don't mean to boast about the thing that I got. I just do that with everything that I got. Everything that I rock, it can't stop me from being close to the top. And that's straight off the top. Like I do my Millie rock, it can never stop. Been a couple blocks, kept it in my sock. We're strong and we're getting stronger. They're not ready for the avalanche that is Aussie Champ tonight. I'm out here. I'm on the new patch. I did my homework. I'm unstoppable. I've been out here in the trenches doing this. I've been here. I need this Garen so bad. It's not happening. I'll take this Demacia boy too though. Demacia, I'm passing you. With the flashing you. Text my Garen you. Hate me. Guess we'll just grab this. With a big I guess and a shoulder shrug. About to have the 3-star Talia. For Freya. Literally just one Talia away. That'd have been insane if it popped there, but no luck. Oh, now we multicasting? Multicasting in that articulate fashion, the way we do it with passion, the way they ask it, we asking. Okay, big Swain. Okay, big bro. Go off. Go off, big bro. Taking down Ape Nation, top dog. Displace him. I mean, I'm not gonna take him away from his station up top. Yo, the 2 a.m. bars is dummy. Wait. I know y'all didn't know you was gonna get all this. 3 much sauce. Oh my gosh, they just really gave me this Shurima juggernaut. Like, that's insane. I can put 5, right? Yup. I wanted to put this on this guy anyway. Uh-oh. He's taking over. He's taking over the whole game again. Somebody just say his name again. Oh yes, Austin Champion. Austin Champion. Go on, Swain. Get him. Get him, Swain. Go on, Sun Disc Tower. Do the thing. Oh, we doing it. We're doing it. And doing it well. Boop, boop. Boop. Oof. Guy's Sag. Like me personally, I haven't had an issue like where I'd be Sag like that. Me personally, I wouldn't have taken that level of disrespect, you know? My side, you know? We're just gonna keep naturally leveling. I mean, we got a lot of the things we need. We have to replace this Cassiopeia. Unlucky for us still that we don't have. Oh wow, crazy. Huh. Like we have too much good of a good thing. I think we can make some Demacia stuff happen here, right? Demacia, now and forever. Yeah, because I think, yeah, we can throw the Lux in there too. That's a cat board. That's full cap. No cap. Nah, we don't want it. Nah, we don't want it. Should we just go with this? Nah. Instead of the Garen, but the Garen's a juggernaut. Ah, why they gotta do this to me? We'll just do this. We're already relatively strong. Better. This person is getting strong, and I'm getting concerned. So strong. Oh, they've got the 4 dead eyes. This is what I was trying to run this game, so good thing I didn't. They're very well endowed in that specific area. Well endowed, champ. I see team. I'll be able to. Need this front line to power up. A lot of damage from all of these cats coming out. These people are going crazy. Can't be mad at them. I'm trying to do the same thing, but geez. I'm gonna need more tanks. I need more tanks. And I need this deer really bad. 1, 2, 3. Look at me. What do you see? I can get the J4 at 3. Or the J4 2 if you see it in that beat. If I don't get that, I guess it's not even up for debate now. Yeah, it is. What could I really want? I need a bow, but it's not that close. I can't find one at all. What's happening? I reached the bathroom stall. I don't know what to pick up from the carousel. I hate this game. I just want to go home. Just joking. It's pretty fun. I could use a sword, I guess. A sword for that, and a sword and a bow. They got these here. About it though. power. Power. Sweet. That's nice, but I just spot for that right now. Oof. Gotta have spots for this though. Do this. Yeah, the next two Shurima I put in had to be somebody else. I'll definitely throw in a Azir when I get Azir. But even then I don't have the items for it. I got the items on this Lux right now. The Lux feeling Lux with a couple extra bucks. Just fair. I don't know what's in her hair and how it got there. Oh, sweet. Got a bow. He's got a bow. Ooh. Who can I even bring out for that? I need to get 8. I just took that opportunity away. Huh. I gotta use these items. Additive. I would love a bow. I think this is a full item carousel though. A Zephyr would be huge. You know what? Get it. Sheesh. That's the deeps. That's America's DPS right there. Lux, popping people. Ugh. Trying to con our way into the top 4 here. This kind of off-kilter comp. I'll call it off-kilter. I think it's pretty off-kilter. Why not? Probably could have used that Shurima emblem to make my life a bit easier. Probably. As in definitely. As in most certainly. But honestly, let's do this. Hey, NASA's doing work, absorbing pressure. Oh my gosh. So solid. We love it here. Flying into top 4. Keep the push going. Alright, good living. Everything's looking pretty solid so far. I missed him. Need this one. It's alright though. Unfortunately, Jarvan gonna go a little far too, but Lux clearing up the Felios nick of time. That's huge. Jarvan going crazy. Let's go. Let's go. Me and Fong taking down the Titans at the top of the table. All right. I'm liking it. Getting close. Still can't beat Pit Katarina though. Sheesh. Fong going crazy. Don't leave me, brother. Didn't pop up. Big-ish. Dang, this cash out is crazy. I guess I'm a 4th. Unlucky. Unless Fong loses worse, but I doubt it. Still out here. Still out here. I'm still out here. Oh, I win. Insane. Oh, I beat Fong. Unlucky. Just need one of these guys. Dang. Not enough. It's close. It is not enough. That's so close. A good third. If I would have won that, that'd have been crazy. That'd have been a solid. I mean, we salvaged fourth. Like I said, we were trying to salvage fourth. We ended up getting even more. So, hype with that. Another game. I think honestly this game we need to just stick to something a bit easier to pull off. I also didn't choose the Shurima emblem on that carousel, which kind of screwed me. I just got kind of stuck like in an awkward position for a while, and then I lost a lot of health. Probably could have got second with that little bit of health in my pocket, but you win some, you lose some. Got some hot streakers on this side. Need I leave with you and Fiakum. Alright. Let's get it, let's get it. After we make the vote, I'm gonna go grab some water real quick. Leave in 3 hours for the flight? Do I just climb until I leave? Sleep in the plane? Sleep on the plane, champ? What could possibly go wrong, champ? Alright, what we got here? I haven't played any prismatic games today. Your boy on 0 prismatic. Let's switch it up. Shurima Bazaar also is a really good one. But it doesn't matter because we heading over to Shurima Bazaar, just like I said. I'm going to I don't know what chat's trying to say there. He said he's going to and just left colon deface. So we'll have to do it. We'll have to fill in the blanks. What's the play? I mean, we're just gonna always grab all this. Ooh, 2 Jin early. 2 Jin and an Aurelia. We're going Ionia. It's Ionia night. It's ladies' night and the feel is right. Munch. No. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Possibly even have the bow come in. If I get a bow here. Looking like a Demacia KO Go 9 kind of game. KO's going crazy again. And I got this early Galio. Just in case. Oh. Oh. That's actually a really nice one. I wish I would have chose that, but I didn't. I'm a delinquent. I'm a degenerate. And there's a lot of Ionia early, which is nice. It's never bad to have, but oh, honestly, I might just. Yeah, I want to just win. I've been having a lot of games where I'm starting slow. Nah, not this game. I want to start ahead. Pandora's items too. It's a good item, man. It's a good augment. Why everybody picks this Twisted Fate. Oof. Yeah, that Fate was looking a little twisted for sure. A little twisted in the Fate. Some Freljord. Some Bastion. Invoker. They're invokers on Demacia. I don't think there's any invokers. I feel like Demacia Freljord is it. Demacia with a little bit of sauce on it. Nah, you gotta switch it up, Tiramisu. You gotta switch it up, homie. Oh, they're gonna think they don't need to switch it up because they're about to win this fight. Oh. Alright. You're gonna learn in the long run. Won't be right now. Won't be this second. It's gonna be your downfall. No pop-up on the little buddy's kind of crazy. Like, I feel like you don't ever lose anything for positioning that in the front and getting that pop-up, but who am I? Am I a void player? Nah. I'm your local lost streak Aussie. Lost streaks into round 3 every single time. Consistency. It's called consistency. And I can get this Garen. I don't think I need this stuff though. I don't think I needed that. I think I could use this though, this Galio. I like these items. guess they don't like these items for that. KO. It's all good. It's just items at this point. They all just shift around and switch around when you really think about it. Yeah, I don't hate this. All right. Now we're annoying too. All right, let's get more annoying starting now. Go, KO. Do it. All right, we're in there. Look at these auto attacks. We get our first upgrade at 6, right? Yeah, that's where you get the static shift proc on it. 6 is the goal, and it gives us a lot more of our units. Of course, we wish we had more poppies, but we're not crying. Like, I'll drop a poppy. He's spinning. Is he winning? Yeah. Nope. Not the case. Alright, we won 2 at the end. That's solid. Going with the 1 streak. +1. +1 on a mic. +1 on the track. +1, it's alright. Ha. +1, it's alright. It's getting late at night. You chilling right now. You here with me, kicking it. Make sure you hit that follow button. Gonna be out here vibing, doing the thing, playing all types of games. You can see on my game streamed what I be on. Running broadcasts with my boy KG the GOAT. League of Legends, co-streams, LCS, you know what I'm saying? Besides that, playing my own little games. I play Valorant with my wife, my son. Get into a bunch of fun stuff, so make sure you hit that follow button. Come through. Say what's up in the chat. Alright. Alright. I'm still liking this gen. It's not the craziest, but still helping. Why'd I just position for? Oh, it's actually perfect though. I didn't even know it's where I need to go, but I'm here now and I'm feeling really happy that I showed up in the same location. Final destination is elating to be at the top where I'm staying. Hopefully I can get this straight to the bacon. Jin got the shield. I yield. Please don't kill me now. Oh my gosh, you freaking action. Happens. Actually happens though. Oh, I like that. And I appreciate that. Who else on Demacia is gonna be? Oh, that can stay. That could stay for the little homie Lux. She be keeping it tight, keeping it a buck. You really don't give a... Aw, shucks. I ran out of words that don't rhyme with fucks. I still have 4, so we find this Lux, that'd be smooth. They got the Lux. Get out of town. How you got the Lux for? It's mine. Unlucky. Or unluxy. Went into the raw Demacia lobby, homie. Thought you were living. I gotta figure out something to do with these items here. I guess honestly I want to keep a Hands of Justice. Spread those across the whole team. My front line is gonna be like Hand of Justice on J4, Hand of Justice on Lux, and then this is my real carry. Oh, Sniper Focus is such a good item, just melting everybody. Okay, so Void is that thing. Looking like Void. Go that Earth, get to force those emblems. Nobody's really taking Void seriously right now. 1, 2. This is awesome, if possible. Ugh. I'm trolling. I'm trolling. I'm trolling so hard, it's okay though. You won't see me not today though. Getting up my bankroll. Ugh. Some wounds? Nobody's ever been mad at wounds. Is there a better Juggernaut to throw this on? Probably. Huh. We'll just start here. We don't need that. This blue buff stay though. Yes, took the streak off first. More Freljord. Not bad at all. Oh, another Demacia. That's great. Just do this for now. Yup. And that's gonna be great. Totally slow down this attack speed every once in a while. And with the Z on her, even better. Racking up that mana just a bit faster. Get that next cast off. Sweet. Start shredding. And we're good. We're in there. I think we're good. Yeah. Nice. Solid fight. Make it into the Wolves with the win streak. It's +1 gold, but definitely matters. Didn't go force your items this game, which feels kind of silly in retrospect. I need to find this Lux, so I'm gonna level. Got another Hodge. A Juggernaut. We want those. Juggernaut. Juggernaut and Invoker. I guess I don't really care for that too much. Ugh. Guess I could have. It's fine. It's all at the end of the day, you know, life's good. I got another Hodge here. Honestly, throw that here. Not you. It happens. It happens. It happens. Yeah, Echo, please. It's my boy. Can't be mad at you. I can never be mad at you, Echo. How you got so many traits on you, though? Oh no, this is gonna be a sad day. Tons of stats. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Unluckiest kid you ever seen for this right here. Ugh, so unlucky, dude. All right. Gotta get my money back up. A couple more friends I wish I was taking advantage of right now, but it's all good in the hood. Just not attacking for so long there. But so much damage absorbed by the Nasus. Hopefully the tons of stats was worth it. I feel like the health isn't crazy, but all the little extra stuff. Do not itemize in the fight ever again, Aussie Champ. Never worth it. We don't have a streak right now, so I feel like we don't waste this econ. We can either sell the Poppy or the Garen. I guess the Sona, because I'm not trying to 3-star her. Nice. Taking out the opponents that matter, losing just some weird stuff. People at the end of their rope, getting those final desperation wins after rolling down. Nothing I love here. A Nasus, honestly. Just want the Nasus. Nasus on the track. Never really found items for that Lux I'm looking for either. Kind of annoying. Why am I rolling? I guess worth it when that happens. Gotta stop though. That Garen is so funny. That is the funniest Garen thing that they've ever done. That each of those spins counts an attack. Like, actually so hilarious to watch. Oh, it sucks. This Kalista's about to pop me. Where'd the track go? Zombie on the track. Zombie on it. Maybe not it. Let's do it. All right, all right. Won't keep it chill again, unfortunately. Still can't really do much. I don't want to ruin my experience. Should have switched it. All right, we holding our own. We looking a little beefy in the front line. I'm liking that. Liking that front line presence. Okay, Nasus back to being normal. Don't die. Didn't die. Like that. Still getting being a threat. We dying. Sent the message. All right, top 4 bound. Yo, you already know. Susan Fiok. Fiokaka. Speaking of Fiokacom, just came through. Oh my gosh. Got the 3 boys stacked up on the Kaisa. Trying to pop and smoke me. I mean, I have it now on this side though. Oh snap. Kalista, please. Kalista, please. Kalista, please. Yeah. Wasn't even hard though. Oh, unlucky champ. Where is this good friend of mine? Oh, there she is. I literally knew. I just had to call her a good friend. I should have done that so long ago. What's going on? What's going on, Girth boy? How's that ladder treating you? They being kind to the kid? Can they be happy for the man? Oh, you hate me. Hate crime. Yes. Stronger. I'm stronger. 1, 2, 3. I need this one. This one's so bad. Please, nobody be a jerk. You don't want this. You don't want it. You don't need that. I get it. Let's do this. Man, accidentally stepped into the experience and said, "Oh, I ain't even mean to do all that to you. I thought I signed up for a casual experience. Still had to put it on them. That's how the boy does it. What am I even rolling for? I'm just rolling. I just have no brain. Oh, I'm looking for her. Okay, I'm not trolling. Kind of trolling. I'm looking for this. This is an impossible fight. This Kaisa is a threat. Pew, 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 pew. Any more pew pews? No, no more pew pews. All right. All right. We're looking good. We're looking poised. We can do this. I just have to not die hard right here. I don't die hard right here. Okay. Who do I have to be against? That's a possibility. Oh my gosh. Please no. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. Oh my gosh, I'm so lucky I actually can beat this person. The climb continues. The climb continues. Yo, thank you so much for the follow, by the way. Young GOAT, young king, young legend. Didn't even need a league to be a legend. You were born that way. Okay, this is getting stressful. Unlucky for that guy. You know, not me, but that guy specifically. No way. How am I still in with these cats? Help. And it's the guy with the KO3 makes it. Oh, he has that last. Unlucky. Unlucky lobby. Can I beat Shurima 5? Probably. My answer, probably. Champion dupe. Oh, wow. The joke's on you, family. I didn't even need it. I think I'm not chilling. Does not feel like a chilling time. How strong am I? Scale 1 to 10. The test. That hurts. I hurt. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm hurt. Okay, I stayed in 1 health. Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Top 4. Now all my units are in play too. But the gods grace me with absolutely nothing. Nothing for you. I still can top 3 if I position this correctly. Really took my whole Sejuani out? That was rude. That was rude. Took the whole Sejuani out the picture. Disrespect. No top 3s to be had. GG's. GG's. Top 4. We up. Ultimate gains? Zing? Yo, tell me why some of the emotes from TFT be the hardest ones in the entire game. Actually fire emotes, like. Riot knows they have so many fire emotes now, they had to literally let you put in more. They're like, let these cats put in more emotes. Alright, LG, since my flight's in an hour, since I gotta leave for the airport in an hour. LG. Look at the gold 3 climb. Alright, let's get a little bit closer to the goals. Alright. LG. I said I'd get some water last game. That didn't happen. That's probably why I didn't, have the mental capacity to do better than top 4. I mean, top 4 is awesome. We take those, but I need more. What are all the high elo kids in right now? Plat? I didn't get to play all day. I had a real life to do. Kinda unlucky, but it's all good. I got a couple games in. I think I'm already, what? This is my 8th game? Big TFT tournament coming to Las Vegas in December, so I'm trying to be ready for that. 512 entrants, I think. Man, stop my dance for my bunny just so they could choose Orange Forge, not even your own boy Scuttle Puddles. It's all good. I love Orange Forge. Ooh, please Piltover. I want Piltover so bad. It's so broken. I'm never lucky enough. Never lucky enough to get the Piltover run. But Aussie champ, why didn't you get water? Cause I hate. Wifey champ has no water bottles either. Just got gifted. All right, hold up. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some water. Can't go wrong with some water and granola, you know what I'm saying? Looking like a oh, that's huge. Looking like a Kalista game. It's looking like a Ooh. I don't really have the best items to start that though. I'll take this. I'll take that. I don't mind that. This way we could try to get this early. Try to find an early Kalista. If not, forget about it. We're gonna be winning these fights though. Things gonna start going crazy. Ramping up the minigun, going pew 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 pew. Bang, 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 bang. Yeah, we ain't losing not a soul out here. Oh, actually, Cassiopeia is ramping up too. Leech. Oh, unlucky. Another Teemo, another one. Looking for my rogues. Looking for my rogue. Got the Pandora's items on. Everybody just running the TF, Veigar, Poro, TF, Caitlyn, TF, Earth. What's Earth guy trying to get into? I'm nervous about that. So this does 5, so okay, you get double the attack speed when you get the Radiant version. That's worth. That is worth if it opens itself. We're getting a lot of great reroll opportunities, but nothing really coming from it. Honestly, I want to like level, but I'm not going to do that to myself. I think I'm just going to econ here. If I can win and sell one, I will. But if I can just... If I lose, I'm going to sell everything. Or sell both the Teemos. Sell it all. Start it all over. Looks like everything's good so far though. This guy's taking so much, tanking so much damage. I wish he was taking more, but it's not happening. Alright, come on y'all, wake up. Alright, Jinx. Now's your time. Right, we're in there. Okay. I might just be stuck to a chain vest, but I don't mind it. I like to be able to grab like one of these 2 items for the Kalista when I eventually get her, but that's gone. One's gone. 2 chain vests up. That one's gone. Chain vest still gonna be mine. Or I could get that, but actually it's okay. Open. Unlucky. It happens. Here we go. Put this here. And like, nah, I think I just be smart. Hope my cats win this. Ugh, everybody's high level. But my level like doesn't really do anything for me. My level is not gonna change the tide of the fight. Unlucky. Lose my streak. And I'm positioned poorly for this. But wait. Clear some. Yeah, repositioning. So smooth. I love that they make sure that he doesn't just shoot off into the distance, since he has a very long cast animation. It's good stuff by the devies. Why did devies get a bevy with you? Alright, I'm about to just lose this in econ. Drop. Drop. I lost the win streak, so it's just better to lose this, or guarantee that I lose this, even if I win against a weaker board. I feel like I just got rogue when I shouldn't have gotten rogue. I guess maybe that was him. I'm looking at them. Yeah, I cleared one. Cleared two. Bless. Minimal damage. Casual juggernauts out of nowhere. Whoa. Pop goes the weasel. Ain't mad at that. It's a lot of gold. I'm trying to get to 7, so I'll take all of that. Demacia Strategist. Ugh. Wish I had more use for you. So slick. And I get this robe. I love it here. I love it here. I love it here. If it wasn't clear, I love it here. I love it here. I love it here. If it wasn't clear, I love it here. I could spend it here like another year. I could be here like another year. I could be with your girl another year. Good saying to unlucky. Sorry, we're gonna fix this up though. We're gonna fix that up. Don't even trip. Y'all ain't even got a trip. See, y'all could get your wins now, Mitch Flurry. Get your wins. Take those, man. Take those. Okay. Kind of looking for that, low key. That's cool. Oh, wow. What? What? That's crazy. Crazy cool. I could put you in the. I could put you in the top. I could put you on the top float. I could put you in the top float. I can say that it get mo. Hey, can I have mo? Can I have mo? All right. We still weak for now. I'm gonna give myself what? I can't lose this whole round. I can only lose to Carousel for a good pick. But I cannot lose like this entire stage. I will have no health. So I think I'm gonna fast push to 7 right here, honestly. Like on this next opportunity. Oh, we got the stakes in this, man. Jeez. All right. We're poised and ready. 1, 2. One of these. How could you? They're both gone. Alright, let's just get this for the GWEN. I'll have to figure out what to do with you. I might just go all in on this GWEN. Oh, this is perfect. I feel like the Triforce goes crazy here. Doesn't have like the AD scaling too much, but gets in the back line. It's always taking a lot of damage too from Splash, so hopefully just help out that much more. Snip, snip, snip. Snip, snip, snip. Nice. And that was second place, if I'm not mistaken. Nice. Said I was gonna power level to 7, never did that. Didn't need to do it. I'm glad I didn't, because now I still have all this gold, giving me this interest. That's so nice. Dang. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna kick it. Still sitting the 1 star. But I guess it's okay if we listen to the song. They told us it's okay, so it's okay. Yeah, this Kalista GWEN combo is so clean. And GWEN with the Hex Tech just providing so much sustain to the team. We out here. We online. That we needed to win. We're winning. Like, Kalista's the reinsurance, but GWEN is the dip. That's on God. That's no cap. That's 100p. Me, no, me, Ozzy, cause I got 5 Kalistas on 3-7 for free. Wasn't even level 7 yet. Oh, that was so nice. Appreciate the gift, Rita. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The more bows. Wow, 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 wow. It's like I want to. Yeah. All right. I think we're set to do something really solid in this game. We have to do a void, and they got the void emblem if I'm not mistaken. So let me see. Yup, that's gonna be a party. Shadow Isle sick. Contagion. Why not? Let's do it. Go try to go Shadow Isles. Means we won't go rogue. Right? Right. So I need to drop this for kind of lose front line. I don't love that. But how important is bleed even gonna be? Like really, at the end of the day. We need this GWEN to be GWEN more than we need anything else to really go down, but we'll see what happens. We're definitely poised for a Kalista 3 no matter what, so. Wow. We got Ghost Slayer. Slayer Shadow Isle. And just craft, what's her face if I ever see her. We still have Rogue too that way. Yeah. Okay, that's a better way to solve that puzzle. I'm not jumping at third of that, but oh, sheesh. All right, pop off team. Look at y'all. Proud of this. Proud of this. How's us beating first? One, two, three, four. I'm not getting her, but I'll be able to level. I have econ. Good thing Conan takes it as well. Sitting. Not in the best position. Currently. You never know. Things change quick out here. To level? Not worth it. Ooh. Lucky but unlucky. I'm not gonna say unlucky on that one, but could have been luckier. How about that? Sheesh. That was terrifying. not impossible. God bless. Gwenning. Oh, dodging. Oh my god. Too smooth, too smooth. Gotta move quick if you want to keep up. Okay, now we're... Never mind. Still going strong. Got another Gwen as well. Oh my god. I think we just... Man, unlucky. We haven't found this Malachi 3. Whoa. Just be patient. Patience will be rewarded. Wow. Honestly, not sure if that's the play, but it feels like the play. Just in case we go against the Azir. Oh, even better. Take the Teemo. No Teemos, please. All right. We end this off with a first. That is a solid run. That's some great games today, if that's the case. I mean, it's DC. Ain't no way. Wow, we're about to get 3-star GWEN and 3-star. We're about to get everything. Oh wow. So close to finishing him off, but it happened. And now we pay for that a little bit. Come on. Alright, we're good. Come on, I need these to ding donk donk donk. Wow. Restart GWEN is fire. But carry me to the promised land. Oh, I cannot find the Kalista, unfortunately. We're out here. We're online. I think we just win the lobby with that. This is my Kalistas right here. One of them. That's them. That's tons of damage. Unlucky. That's because I'm expecting to get this 3-starred up. If the cards land in my favor. Alright, we want this instead though. They're not scouting my Zephyr is crazy. I think we got this one in the bag. Oh, definitely in the bag. Can I find my Malachi? Unlucky boy. He played at the best out of anybody so far. I gotta switch it up. Next level. Kinda expected FF, but that's cool if he lets it pop through. I respect that a lot more. Okay, now it's over though. Got all my 3 stars lined up on these Shadow Isles. I just need the last piece of the puzzle, which is to drop Slayer 4, pick up Shadow Isle 6. Honestly, just probably throw another one of these on here. Why not? Can we find our friend Senna? Nah, I guess I don't need it. Did a good job positioning this time. I got to play better next time, or else I'm gonna lose it. Hey, shout out to the dead. I guess there's no way I'm losing. Oh, way too many 3 stars in the game. Oh, got it, got it. Time to get tricky. I don't want to get this embarrassed again. You ain't Zephyr nothing this time. And I caught you lacking. Catching nothing this time. Alright, well, GG. GG. He got the Jarvan 3. It's not enough, though. Oh, it is. Is it enough? Oh my gosh, I'm stunned for 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Woo! Almost lost to this insane Jarvan, but not today, baby. We ended off with the big Vic. Ow! The champ is here. Promoted 2 more times, straight up to silver 1. Forget about it. I'm up with the planes. I'm with a Skype seat. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of planes, I have a flight to catch, and I gotta wake up in an hour to do that. So I'm gonna head out. That's gonna be my sign off for today. Thank you so much, KG the GOAT, the new follow coming out. Appreciate your face, yo. And anybody that just stopped by the channel, that came by, showed some love, gave a view, whatever it may be. I appreciate you too. Make sure you leave a follow, because we're gonna be back. We're gonna be active. Follow the IG as well at AussieChamp, because your boy is out there taking a flight to go do some Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart commentating outside of the LA Convention Center in a few hours. So I gotta go. I gotta head out. Y'all, peace. It's been a pleasure. Have a wonderful night. Be safe. I will see you all next time, whenever that may be. Peace. 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 Good morning or good night or whatever it may be.